I am Reed. I am 27, just an average dude. IV made tons of money mistakes in my 20s, and now I want to share everything I've learned to help you take control of your finances and your life. So, you know that question that keeps you up at night. What if in this lifetime you could actually achieve everything you ever wanted, but you didn't even reach for it because you didn't even try? That thought scares me more than failing ever could. And honestly, that is why I'm making this video. If you are watching this right now, it found you just in time for you to start. Because here is the hard truth that nobody wants to tell you. What you are is what you do. Not what you say you are going to do. Not what you plan to do. Not what you hope to do. What you actually do, that is who you are. And I want you to level up so high that you have to reintroduce yourself to people. Like imagine running into someone you haven't seen in 6 months and they literally don't recognize you because you've changed that much. That is the goal, but I also need to warn you about something real quick. Once you become this new ideal version of yourself, you cannot slip up. You cannot afford to go back to your old self. And I know that sounds harsh, but I promise you it is the most freeing thing you ever hear. Let me tell you a little bit about myself because I think context matters. I am 27 years old. I am not a millionaire. I am not some financial guru. I am not some life coach who has got it all figured out. I am just a regular dude who made a ton of mistakes in his early 20s and decided enough was enough. I grew up in a normal family, no inheritance, no connections, no fancy finance degree, nothing. Just me and my bad decisions and a lot of regrets. When I was 20, I was the definition of a mess. I was living paycheck to paycheck, but worse than that, I was living paycheck to negative paycheck. I was using credit cards to buy stuff I didn't need to impress people I didn't even like. I was going out every weekend spending money I didn't have on drinks and dinners and dumb stuff. I had no savings, no emergency fund, no plan. Nothing. I was just floating through life hoping something would magically change. And guess what? Nothing changed because nothing was going to change. Not until I changed. So let S stop wasting time. I am going to get straight into it because I know you are busy and I know you've got things to do. But if you are watching this video right now, it is because somewhere deep down, you know you need to hear this. You are going to want to work in silence so that your success is the noise. By the time you are done implementing everything I am about to share with you, you are going to shock everybody around you. You are even going to shock yourself. But don't be too surprised when that happens because you deserve it. You've always deserved it. You just forgot that for a while. Here is what is going to happen. You are going to stay very low key for a bit. You are going to set aside some time during these next 90 days to work on yourself. And I mean really work on yourself, not just half-ass it, not just think about it, actually do it. And inevitably you are going to improve and then you are going to come back and become unrecognizable. But in the meantime, as you grow in silence, let people talk, let them wonder what you are up to, let them speculate, let them gossip, because they have no idea what your plans are. And honestly, that is for the best. You don't need anyone else. S opinion about this, you don't need anyone doubting you or questioning you. In Sunday Tizu, as the art of war, this is exactly how you sneak up on the enemy to win the war, because you are not giving them intelligence. Keep that to yourself. I don't know your life, but let S just pretend that the enemy refers to everyone and everything that gets in the way of your own self-improvement journey. The toxic friends, the bad habits, the negative self-talk, the fear, all of it. Don't tell anyone your plans, stay low. Key about it. So you can come booming down like a lightning strike and come up on top and win. All right, so I am going to teach you the exact 90-day plan that I followed to crawl out of rock bottom and find the best version of myself. Last year, I went from an absolute mess at my lowest point to becoming a very disciplined and productive person in only a few months. But let me tell you where I was. I was in the dumps bad. I was going to bed at 8 a.m. and waking up at 4 p.m. My sleep schedule was completely destroyed. I was binge watching TikTok for hours every single day. I mean, hours like 5, 6, 7 hours of mindless scrolling. I was eating junk food constantly, fast food, pizza, chips, soda, whatever was easy. I was basically wasting my time and my life away, and the worst part is I knew I was doing it. I knew I was wasting my potential. But I felt so stuck and so hopeless that I didn't even know where to start. It was a sustainable way for me to live, so I knew something had to change. One of the first things I started with was changing my diet. And listen, I know that sounds basic, but hear me out. Any kind of change is always the hardest in the beginning. Your brain fights it, your body fights it, your habits fight it. Everything in your life is set up to keep you exactly where you are. So one way to make habits stick is to make it as easy for yourself as possible. Don't try to change everything overnight. That is how you burn out. That is how you fail. Start small, really small. Like embarrassingly small. One of the ways I made it easier on myself so I could focus on me was simplifying my meals when I was at my lowest. I didn't have the energy to cook healthy meals from scratch every day, and honestly, I didn't have the cooking skills either. So I found ways to make it easier, that is just being practical. Now let me tell you something that might be hard to hear. If anybody around you has called you a weirdo or spazzy or obnoxious or anything similar to that, those people definitely don't matter. They definitely don't deserve your energy. And I promise you, they're gonna keep putting you down regardless of anything that you do about it. That is just who they are. That is their problem, not yours. And by the way, if those are the same words that you use to describe yourself, try to speak more kindly towards yourself. I know that sounds cheesy, but I am going to explain why in a bit and maybe put a positive spin on it. Like, for example, I may be loud, but I am also easy to talk to and people find me comforting, or I may be high energy, but I am the life of the party. Or even I may be shy, but I am very observant and I am very self-aware. See what I did there? I took something that could be seen as negative and I reframed it. I think that when you finally find confidence out of your own rebrand and being more comfortable with yourself and also generally becoming a more positive and less serious person, that is what really helped me level up. If you are comfortable with who you are, people will definitely know this and appreciate it. Okay, let us start with my biggest and most important chapter. And this is the key to becoming so secure in life and everything that you do. You don't even need to rebrand so much as expand your current brand. It depends on who you want to become. So you own the things you cannot change, but always look to improve. It is like how Apple sold computers and then they added smartphones and then tablets and watches and AI or whatever. They don't need to change who they are completely just to sell new products. They re-still Apple. They use their same brand and design identity, but then they also expand on it. They recreating their own universe. So create a universe of you. Become your ideal version of yourself and think deeply about what that looks like. Then visualize it to your best ability because your entire reality hinges on this. So ignore your current 3D world for a second because this is the ideal world that you are going to be creating for yourself. Your interpretation of life is a projection of your self-concept, so make it a really good one, and then forget about taking action for now. I know that sounds crazy, especially from a guy who is all about discipline and habits, but we're gonna save action for later. Focus on changing your beliefs first from the deepest parts of yourself. People who are so concerned with taking action nonstop don't realize that your belief system is way bigger than taking action because it is how you see your entire life. So once your beliefs change, you are not going to feel like there is anything else to do because you see everything based off of the self-concept that you've created. The key word here is to be. It will always go back to who you are being because at the end of the day, every single thing is just the story that you've decided to live, and you are the source for that. You are the author of your own biography. So take this really seriously. This is your life to be or not to be. This will make it easier to dismiss any kind of lies that people say about you or gossip when you understand that you are the only source and it is about forming your identity. Only you have the truth about yourself. You and your reality are just the result of what you have accepted as the truth. So once you set your beliefs into stone, everything else is going to follow. You don't wait for reality to happen. Reality is waiting for you to take the lead. Understand that your whole life is a projection of your self-concept. It is the foundational beliefs that you interact with on a daily basis, meaning the way that you see the world becomes your entire life. When an aspect of your self-concept changes, your reality shifts, and it shifts immediately because your views about everything are going to change. For example, an insecure person interprets everything in an insecure way, and that identity creates even more insecurity. Since this is how they view themselves, the assumptions and thoughts that go along with it are going to naturally happen. And because they are insecure, they will say things that an insecure person will say, and they will do things that an insecure person does. Like, I don't believe that person deserves success. I don't think I deserve to have that kind of relationship. They will constantly undermine themselves and also other people around them. That is just the end result of being an insecure person. If they change that part of themselves and stop getting in their own way constantly, then they are going to stop focusing on whether or not other people deserve success or whether they think that they deserve the best relationship. Change your self-concept and your views on everything will automatically shift. You are not gaining anything from your current physical reality. You are creating it constantly in real time by your feelings, by every single thing that you think and what you believe and how you feel about yourself. But I have to tell you something. You can feel what you feel, but you don't have to accept it as the truth. Shocking, right? I don't listen to my feelings anymore. I empathize with them. I understand them. I understand why I feel the way that I feel, but I don't let my feelings lead me. If I know that my reality is what I've accepted as the truth, then I should only be focusing on what I want to achieve and accept that as the truth. So tell me, why do you keep focusing on the things that you don't want? The only reason why it is still there, whether it is your insecurity or your people-pleasing behavior or the people around you, is because you keep validating it with your thoughts and your awareness of the situation. This applies to every single thing. I notice this one thing that keeps coming up with a lot of people in my comments about financial independence. They keep validating that lack mindset for money, saying things like, I have to work 3 jobs in order to secure food for my family. I cannot save money if I don't make enough. Or you are wrong, that money is unlimited. It is actually very limited and rich people take everything away from me. Are you reading back your own comments sometimes? I just don't even want to waste energy continuing to explain something that you are not going to want to undo in your head, because unfortunately that is a you issue. I am just being honest. If you are not hearing what I am saying, why are you even wasting time watching my videos? I am here to hopefully help you realize things about yourself, so that is why I am like this. It is also crazy to me how some of the most beautiful people in the world have the most awful self-concepts. I don't mean just physically. I mean like the kindest, sweetest people in the world. Please just no more of this bad self-concept. It must be abolished right now. There is no way that you are so cool and interesting and pretty and funny and creative, and there is no one else like you, and yet you get so sad when someone does text you back. You think that it is not a privilege to date you or to be friends with you. You think that if someone does text you back within a day that they don't like you. I am kind of going into specific things here, but you need to realize this thing about the physical world. Your physical reality is created by both your past decisions as well as your past circumstances, things that happened to you, things that you decided to do. But everything in it is actually neutral. It can tell you anything. It can validate you. You can create thoughts right now about it. It makes you think that it is telling you something or giving you something or taking away value from you. But you are the only person attaching a story to everything. Your perception of the physical reality is what gives it life. It is 100% dependent on you. Things show up the way they do because of what you accepted as the truth. When it comes to things like manifestation, that is all imagination. When you embody the state of your wish already fulfilled, you instantly manifested your desire in your imagination already, and that is what makes it real. That is why there is no need to convince yourself that you have it in the physical reality. Focusing on your imagination is what is going to take you to your goals. If you have it in your imagination, the physical world will bend to you, it will reflect everything back to you. And the irony is that the 3D realm, your physical reality, is going to start giving you everything that you want instantly the second that you stop focusing on your current reality. And that includes all of your negative self-talk. Like, I don't deserve this, I am not good enough for this, I am not whatever enough. Yes, you are. So before we even talk about discipline, don't ever be afraid to start anything. There is no reason to be afraid because nobody will ever say all the right things to the right people. Everyone has said something very embarrassing, and it is better to say something than nothing at all. Everyone has made mistakes, and that shouldn't scare you into becoming a hermit and not doing anything with your life. Take calculated chances, meaning that with anything that you do, make sure that all the upsides are better than the downsides and move on if you need to. You will know in your heart if you will regret it. If you didn't take that chance on yourself. Life is too short. There is really no reason to hold back on anything, and don't ever take yourself too seriously. Be a bit unserious. The specific person that you are so into, for example, is probably just afraid of coming off awkward and as nervous as you are. So much easier said than done, but just by putting yourself out there and taking the first step to do anything at all, you are doing way better than the other 90% of people who are just too afraid to even try. But let's face it, once you start, you need to have discipline, and discipline is all about the habit of performing the game. That is really what it is. Discipline is what is going to carry you through even when you don't feel like it. You are the gamer, and every time you choose discipline, you win. That day and day by day, you build it up incrementally. But you can't have it if you don't mentally and internally shift. Sometimes you just have to stop feeling sorry for yourself. Whatever it is that you are lacking, everyone lacks something, but so what? Stop the victim mentality and actually change on the inside so that you can move on and focus on the discipline aspect of it.